Hi everyone. My name is Michael Burke and I blog regularly for Socialist Economic Bulletin. I'm sorry I can't be with you today. A long-standing pre-booking meant I can't, but I'm very pleased to have been invited by the organisers of Rise to speak on this topic, which is really the topic of the moment in terms of what's dominating political discussion. And it's essentially the false claim that spending on the military is somehow very beneficial to the economy, to the wider economy. In fact, it's about the most useless thing you can do with government funds if you're looking to revive economic activity and create jobs. And I'm going to explain why that's the case. The first thing is to say is what's the purpose of investment? Well, investment creates what we used to call the means of production. You'd probably now call it the adding to the productive capacity of the economy. So if you build a factory, make a machine tool, um, build a railway, whatever it might be, the purpose of it is then to be able to do other types of economic activity, having created that fixed investment. You can make things in the factory, you can transport things with a railway and so on. And that's the fundamental thing. That's what really drives economic activity overall, is the level of investment. If, on the other hand, you're building a missile, a tank, or a bullet, that has no use. The only purpose that can be used for is to destroy people and to destroy the means of production and destroy the environment too. It can't be used in any form of economic activity which adds to well-being. By definition, that's the nature of weaponry. And so the idea that significant investment in the military is a key to growth or will lead to substantial economic recovery or create jobs, which is one of the other big claims, is simply false. It's not part of the means of production and therefore can't form that role. So, in the way that is not open to any other type of investment, funding the military is almost the equivalent of pouring money down the drain. It has no economic or societal benefit. One of the things that's claimed is that it's jobs rich. Now, this is just simply fiction. It's made up. And we know that because the arms manufacturers don't create very many jobs. And outside of World War, very little of economic activity is devoted to the creation of weaponry and certainly very little employment. And that's because it doesn't increase in employment in any significant way. This type of analysis has been done at a very sustained level, very helpfully by the Scottish government. And for those of you familiar with the economic jargon, it's based on input and output tables and Leontiev analysis. I'm not going to bore you with the jargon, but what that type of analysis can show you is the interrelationship between different sectors of the economy. So if you have, say, a mining capacity, well, then you'll need steel production as an input. You'll need loads of other things, electricity, and so on and so on. And of course, you'll need labor. It just describes or analyzes the relationship between those different sectors of the economy. And in the course of that, it can tell you what investment will do and growth will do in one sector of the economy in relation to things like job creation. Now, the Scottish Government analysis has done this. What comes out on top, number one out of 100 different categories, is health. Not really surprising. Health is really people-intensive business for obvious reasons. It's a lot of capital investment too little of it in a country like Britain, but this it's overwhelmingly labor driven. The opposite is the case for manufacturing of weapons. It's very capital intensive, not labor intensive at all. It comes 74th out of 100 categories in terms of how jobs rich investment in arms manufacture is. And again, if you compare health and weapons manufacture, the same investment will yield about 2.5 times the jobs that the same level of investment yields in job creation in weapons manufacture. So even on the most basic level, in terms of what's claimed for the military Keynesianism, Keynesians, the idea that you can spark recovery with large scale waste of money on weaponry is completely false. And I think that's an important argument because it's one of the key arguments that the people now willing to spend huge amounts of money on the military to cut aid, to cut welfare, in order to finance it, are claiming. And it's just false. And they're really making it up as they go along. Um, these ideas on how valuable, how useful investment in the military is have a long history, a very inglorious one, and were tested to destruction during the course of the Vietnam War. Uh, Many of you won't have been around at the time, but what happened then is the US governments spent an enormous amount of money, both published and secret budgets, to try to defeat the Vietnamese peasantry and were unable to do so. In the course of that, there was an enormous amount of spending on weaponry. Now, if the claims were true about the benefits of this type of funding, then what would have happened is the US would have become a booming economy. In fact, what happened was the US almost became bankrupt and had to destroy the world financial system that had been erected after the Second World War, known as Bretton Woods, because it couldn't finance its foreign debts anymore. It almost bankrupted the US. So there's no evidence for this. It's simply advocacy, false advocacy by people who are intent on a war drive and getting ordinary people in this country to pay for it. That's it from me. I hope the rest of the conference is really good. Thanks. Bye.